Welcome, 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 everyone. We are going live right now to get started and allow people to come into the room. And I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Just to tell you now to hang on in here and get ready for a different kind of outpouring today in Rebirth Sunday. So we will be doing our opening even a little different. So just get your mind, your heart, and your spirit ready to receive from this overflow this morning. Be open. May our hearts 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 be open. All right, all right. So we are in the place ready to get started this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Rebirth Sunday. We have been doing a series here. I am your juicy Reverend here today. Reverend Juicy on deck. No, let me stop playing. I'm LaTanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Juicy Spirit Mama, the priestess of purpose, pleasure, passion, and profits, affectionately known as the Rev Coach. And often called Reverend Juicy, for real though. And we have some other in-house names, but no matter what name you call me, it's really what I answer to. And so this is an answer to a call of our October month, where we are super juicy during this time. And this is our month in the Juicy Tribe to celebrate our consecration. And we let a couple of weeks go by without celebrating it. And so today we have our sisters who are going to be bringing the word to you. And I just want to set up the framework, because we've been talking about your spiritual gifts, right? The abundance available in your spiritual gifts. And in your spiritual gifts, you've heard it said that your gifts will make room for you. Well, if your gifts will make room for you, then that means that sometimes there's something that is crowding the space where you can't even have the spaces or know when you're in the spaces because it's too crowded. There's too much occupying it. It's too much existing there. And the first teacher that I learned about the connection between our divine feminine and the power of activating our divine feminine, we call it juicy. And when I first started this juicy work, I knew the juicy was more than the sensuality and the sexuality. Even though that was what people came to free up, whether they were trying to save their marriages, whether they were just trying to reclaim themselves from years of religious indoctrination, whether they were trying to forgive themselves for choices that they made when they were out of their body. Women came with different stories, and the stories led to these processes that we call the juicy spirit womanhood rites of passage. And yes, it's gone through many iterations of 6 weeks and 7 weeks and 6 months, and we landed on the 6 months rites of passage with that I now call feminine soul retrieval. And juicy is joyfully unraveling. Think about a fruit. Intimacies, creative and sometimes courageous, yes. Juicy, joyfully, unraveling, unveiling. It's unveiling season. Intimacies, courageous or creative, yes. Y'all know I teach on yes. I started teaching on yes first, and then juicy ties right into first a woman being able to say yes to herself. And so as I set the framework and opened the way for my sisters to come on, I do have another something that I want to bring the energy up. You know how when the choir goes up before church, before the preacher goes up, there's always a song. I have a song for us that we're claiming live on the air. That is a new song for us in the Juicy community. And when I say the Juicy community, when I talk about the tribe who has done the work, I am talking about the Juicy Butterflies. The Juicy Butterflies are, some people have claimed to be a Juicy Butterfly without having that 6 months rites of passage. And they get to wear that badge of honor and be distinguished in the sisterhood as leaders because they've done the work. Some of them have done 2 and 3 rounds of Juicy in order to take hold of their desires. And so here's one thing I want to set the framework of when we talk about the mystery of sexual energy and money and abundance and prosperity. Napoleon Hill calls it sexual transmutation. To transmute something is the changing or transferring of one element or form of energy into another. So the very emotion of sex talk, divine sex magic, it brings you into a certain state of mind. And because there's so much ignorance around the subject, the rites of passage allows you to clear the blind spots at every level of your family origin, of your creativity, of the choices and your own identity, at the level of your courage to launch out into the world, at the level of your throat and being able to speak your truth, and then rising up into your spiritual gifts. That is exactly how we end the Juicy process. Is before you can step out into the world, into your spiritual gift, you have to get into the state of mind of freedom. That's why your gifts make room for you, because you gotta have an opportunity to be free. And that's where my Juicy Rebirth, the book, really was born from my testimony, but even more from the rites of passage. And so Napoleon Hill talks about, because of the ignorance of the subject, and that generally when the word sex is mentioned, or even sensuality for some people, it's associated only with the physical. Even when we talk about money, we still only look at paper, and money is changing right before our eyes into something intangible now. That is digital currency. That is the investment and the dollar returning back to the gold standard. But the gold and the silver standard also represent a spiritual energy. That is why everybody loves the goddess Oshun, but we don't understand what it takes to be in the Oshun energy. So one of the things, I want to give you something tangible real quick. This is my sermonette before I pass the mic to in the consciousness of all of this to my sisters, is inquiring this knowledge beyond the mind and into the spirit. There are 3 constructive potentialities, so says Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich. 1, there is the juicy creative energy of creating humans, perpetuation of mankind, of humans. The maintenance of health. Yes, your sexual health is therapeutic. You ever been around a woman that needs to get some? It's a lot of them in the church. It's a lot of them in the mosque. It's a lot of them tied up, bound up. And so, yes, you can go sing about it, shout about it. That's even that energy is a release of orgasmic energy in a different way. And then the third thing is the transformation of mediocrity into genius through transmutation. Let me say that again and read it right. The transformation, of mediocrity into genius through transmutation. That is why we have the butterfly, because the butterfly goes through a cocooning process. And sometimes you have to cocoon your mind, your body, and your spirit at different seasons and stages in your life. So when you talk about sexual transmutation, it is for your gifts to make room for you. It is switching the mind from thoughts of only physical expression to thoughts of other nature, the parts of you that you don't know yet. And sometimes you have to go through stages of revelation of Juicy. Juicy has grown with me and is still growing. Even when we relaunch next year, the entire Juicy suite, it's not going to be delivered the same because I'm not the same. I'm at the end of this process already, having so much awareness of how much ancestral work that we get to do, because we are the mothers of civilization. Melanated rich women, you are the mothers of civilization. And until you rise and walk like this earth is your runway, until you move in your family, especially with you being the one to say yes, abundance can be aloof to you. Prosperity can be aloof to you because you are waiting on old gender roles. You're waiting on to be saved and sanctified and set apart. But you have to say yes to yourself. And Juicy is an entry point, and it is the gift that keeps on giving. And I'm going to let you hear from people who use this process, who work this process, and let the process work through them. I'll close out, but I'm going to give a little song, and I'm going to dip in between each and every one of my sisters that are sharing. I'm going to bring them on one by one. But when you hear this, you know we're getting ready to transition. This is my dedication to our Juicyversary.
It's okay, feel good, feel good. It's okay, feel good.
And first to come up is our sister Dana, Minister Dana Beasley.
Sensual, powerful, vulnerable woman, knowing your worth.
Greetings. Can you hear me okay?
So good to see you.
It's wonderful to hear you. Peace and blessings. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you. Take it away, my love. How has Juicy showed up as abundance for you, sis?
Oh, wow. So it's so funny because I received your message and saw the topic, and I began to just think back and meditate. And it hit me that it's been 9 years since I began the process. And I just saying that I got full just now, just because when you think about how long a process takes and the return on your investment is just so abundant. It makes me full. But listen, ladies, this is what I want you all to know. 9 years ago, I separated from my marriage, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I had 3 children. I didn't know what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, or anything else. And then I was introduced to the Juicy process. and the Tanya Taylor, the Rev Coach. And my life has been more abundant than ever before. You know, I was having a conversation with my children recently that held the context of, you know, you got to make a plan for your life. You know, when we're young, when we're children, we always say, I want to do this by the time I'm 25. I want to have that by the time I'm 30. I want to be able to see this by the time I'm 40. And then life happens. And then, you know, those plans kind of get sidetracked. But I'm here to tell you, as a witness, that a dream deferred is not a dream denied.
Mm.
You can make your dreams happen, even though they didn't happen when you thought they would. It's so funny because we always hear we have a plan and God has a plan. Just because you thought it was supposed to happen that way doesn't mean it was supposed to happen that way. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means it doesn't happen that way. Listen, when you can fall into your juicy self, when you can fall into your juices flowing beyond abundance, your life changes, your thought process changes, your patterns, your habits change, and abundance is inevitable. It flows, it creates and makes room for more abundance in your life. I have moved. I have switched jobs multiple times in the last 9 years. I have made money. I have lost money. I have built up a savings that I didn't have 9 years ago. So, does the process work? Yes. When you allow spirit to guide you, does it guide you in the right places? Yes. When juices flow, can they flow orgasmically? Yes. So I'm here as a witness to tell you, even 9 years later, and I can't wait for our 10-year juice anniversary, but 9 years later, the juices still flow. And I pass the mic to my sister.
Oh wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna you can leave your screen on and put yourself on mute if you want. If you have to go, no worries, but we'd love to have you stay. So next, I'm going to bring up my sister who is actually, a lot of the juicy butterflies like to distinguish themselves as OGs, the ones who were at the beginning of the juicy process, right? And but this particular juicy butterfly did not start when I first started the process, but it is not how you start, it's how you finish. But she started with me when I first started coaching. A lot of people don't know this about Kristen. So I'm going to bring on this beloved sister who you all have to know, you have to see, because when I talk about a butterfly cocooning multiple times, multiple seasons, this sister right here has gone on from I'll let her give her testimony, but let's just say now she is competing in competitions and has a chiseled body as a result of some decisions that she has made in her life. And so I'm bringing on another juicy butterfly who's been with me for over, I don't know, Kristen, how long has it been?
I was trying to figure that out last night. I can tell you my daughter was at least 5 and she's now 21.
Oh
So
my,
it's been a while.
yes, indeed. Well,
Yeah.
it's so good to see your face. So please take it away. I pass the mic.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I just being here has been a blessing just this morning, and that's what I love about you and the process. I was running around the house grabbing a pen and paper as you were speaking because I'm like, oh, I got to write that down. I'm still taking notes. I'm still learning. Um, but this process, just knowing you, when I first came to Rev, it was to deal with a lot of feminine issues, a lot of motherhood issues, and the process, I think we started the process, Dana, what you said, 9, 8, maybe was it 4 or 5 years ago? I can't remember the the time frame that we actually did the 6-month process, but it was a few years back. And by then we had did a lot of work to just dig through um, issues surrounding lack and mindset. But what stood out to me as you were speaking today was the courageous yes. And when I reflect back over my life, that's the step that I never took. That's the reason I didn't have. And it was through this process that I was able to take a step. And I think sometimes we feel like we have to take a big step in order for it to count. No, it's the baby steps that count. And you just keep taking those baby steps. And I remember just watching on Instagram, and you look at the fitness models and you think, wow, I want to look like them. At least I did. And I never did because I would just watch them. I wouldn't go to the gym. I wouldn't change my eating habits. I just desired to have what they had, but I wasn't willing to do what they did to get there.
Oh, that's a
And
word.
that was huge for me. And that applies to every area of my life. Um, it's just a matter of, as Rev said, saying yes. And actually, I was going through some of the juicy paperwork last night, just like the notes that we had. And you make that statement all the time. Stretch. Take a step. How does it feel? Does it feel like a stretch? Does it feel hard? And now I realize, oh, I need to take this process again because now it hits differently. It's a process that works no matter how often you take it. But as you continue to grow, you can grow even further. Like my goals are bigger now. They're not small, and well, that's not a good word. They're not the goals that they used to be. So as Rev mentioned, I have competed 4 times in 4 bodybuilding competitions, and I won in each one. I received second in the third one. Yes, Dana, thank you. And in the second one, but that made me work harder. And so I'm in a natural league, but now my goal is to transition over to a more competitive league where everyone is in naturals. So that means I have to work even harder. And I'm up for it because I know that I can do it. And I know that with genetics, my body can handle it. So I'm excited to see where that takes me. But another yes that kind of shifted me that no one knows, you guys are the first to know. Um, I'm in a relationship, it's pretty serious, and we put down the deposit to buy a lot to build our villa in the DR.
Oh my goodness.
So we're relocating probably within the next year. It's going to take 6 to 8 months to build. But we're really excited about it. And these were dreams that we had prior to even knowing each other. I had already always mentioned that I wouldn't mind living out of the country a few months of the year. I didn't think full time, but it was a desire. And he always wanted to live in the DR. So when we came together, it was just like, let's do it, you know? And so we are. And part of that, let's do it, came from the juicy process, came from saying yes, as opposed to, what would our family think? Or, just having the naysayers or thinking why we shouldn't do it. We're going to take the chance and jump out there and actually do it. And so I'm really excited. I'm extremely grateful to this process. If you're considering it, I say do it. You will not be disappointed. You will have shifts. It will be ugly. It won't be easy, but that's what makes the rewards so great.
Wow. Wow, I got to get my clapper for y'all now. I hope you're clapping at home too as people are trailing in. And so I thank you so much for sharing. I'm so excited for you. That means we're going to have another location for our consecration, Dana.
Yes.
This month is about the right time for October next year for us to be consecrating in the DR. And the DR was the place that I thought I was moving to from Costa Rica. And but my husband and I got rerouted by the ancestors to come and do the exact thing that is happening now with me finishing this year. So there's so much more to Kristen that she didn't say. I'm going to say it because just like Dana, they are being modest. These women are really brilliant geniuses in their life. Kristen, for instance, does not like talking like this. She does not like coming to the public like this. But honey, this is a woman that can work your behind the scenes, analyze your data. She has been an entrepreneur, a hustler, Chicago style, baby. And raising a beautiful, brilliant daughter, and literally has never let go of working her process, literally through the toughest of times. And I would, even when I was still working a job, Kristen and I would be meeting up after she got off and after I got off, and we will work this process. So she is truly an OG of the tribe, and I look forward to hearing more from you. And Dana too is another one who specializes. The abundance and money is her topic, is her area. She is not shy about accounting and such. So really, this is not just about the rites of passage process. This is really just about your spiritual gifts in a season right now where it's so easy for you to start talking the talk of everybody else. But when you become an extraordinary woman, you don't talk the talk of average people about a recession, about the economy, because anybody who knows about this economy, this is the time to plant a seed in the ground. This is the time to invest. This is the time for you to reposition yourself. And maybe the investment that you get to make is in your gift in this season. Even if you can't express the gift, you can invest in the gift some kind of way. And so, that might be cryptocurrency. It may be when the stocks are low and getting penny stocks. It may be land. It may be cooperative economics, as we've been talking about. It may be partnering with people and bringing your money together to create a vision right now, because there are the 1% are they're not having conversations of what am I going to do? How am I going to eat? It may be time to grow your food, to learn to sew your own clothes, and really control the narrative about what doesn't fit when you're trying to cram your body into other people's size. There's a real woman size that doesn't always exist until you create it. This may be time for you to go into your medicine cabinet called the kitchen and mix your herbs and start to put yourself on the path of health and wellness. So abundance comes in many forms. And so now I want to bring in another shining star who also has been around and for a very long time. And what I love about my sisters is, I think, and I did this too, I'll confess, there are a lot of people that will hover around for a while. They'll watch you, see how they feel, because that old belief system still thinks that, oh Lord, I don't know, this is sinful. Oh, she talking about being juicy and God, juicy and divine, sex and God. Like, how did that don't go together? Some people hover for a long time. And I'm not saying that this next sister hovered, but we were in a non-traditional church space together. And you all know her as the world may know her as Tanya. She's Tony to us Stevenson. I hope you can come on camera, Tony. You are up on the screen. And she has so many amazing things going on. And I love this woman. And I love the realness that she is. Talk about spiritual gifts galore on an ancestral anointed realm. This one right here sometimes hovers below the radar, because when you see her work, she's working with young girls, which is valuable, all the way from the shores of these shores to the shores of Africa. And we need her work because many of us are rising into the season, whether you like this or not. You are elders, y'all. These folks, these young folks consider 30-year-olds as old. This generation consider I don't know about y'all, but I didn't think that. This generation thinks that people who are over 30 are old. So y'all know that some of us are really considered elders to them, but that's okay because we can be these juicy elders. Most of us are Generation X, and they don't know juicy until they met a Generation Xer. And so we need Tony's work. And I pray that you hold the vision of those us as juicy butterflies going into serve her rites of passage program. Hold the vision that we are the aunties that assist her in moving those young women as she continues her work in the world. So, my sister, I hope I set you up properly. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning and greetings to all of the beautiful souls that are present on this morning. I greet you in love and light. So yeah, the happy juicy versary. When you talk about the cocoon, I resided in the cocoon and didn't even realize I was there. So my process began, and we definitely did a dance, Latanya and I. We danced because I came for one reason, but didn't know I needed another. I said yes, but I did not say yes to me. I had learned to say yes to everyone except me. And through the process, she kept pointing it back to me, and I kept trying to redirect it to others because that's what I had been taught. I had been taught to serve others. I had been taught to take care of others. I had been taught to tolerate others. So there was no space for me in the equation. I had what they call the good girl syndrome, where I followed all the rules, I did what everybody said, and I tried to honor my elders in my community and everything that I did. But in that space, no one taught me about honoring myself. So I had to learn how to release who they said I was and begin to embrace who I knew who I was. And boy, I'll tell you, that was a battle. So the process gave me so much power and understanding of womanhood. I tell my girls, womanhood is the gateway to self-discovery. If you take the time to understand who you are and take the time to see yourself, you will discover so many gifts and wonderful things about yourself. So that had been my path. And with the process, like I said, I went, I think I was playing double dutch. I kind of jumped in the rope and jumped out because there were times it just became too overwhelming for me. But what I loved about the process, it is that it gave me space to do that. She pushed, but she didn't push me overboard. She pushed me with love and kindness. And absolute love. Absolute love. Sometimes I didn't think it was kindness, but it was absolute love. And I'll tell you, when I emerged, man, I emerged, I did not recognize myself, which was a little scary as well. Because I was someone else for so long. Embracing the new vortex was a bit scary for me, and it was so powerful that I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't recognize it. So for those of you who are thinking of joining the process, what I will say is do it for yourself. Do it for your future. Do it for your legacy, and do it for those that are coming behind you that you haven't even met yet. This process has given me strength and vision for all of the young girls that I encounter. And one thing I'll say is that it does not end with the end of the process.
Yes, yes.
It doesn't. It is a lifelong process. But with the foundation of this program, man, your money, your sexuality, your vision, your power, everything moves to a different level. Everything. My yes turned into me relocating to another state. My yes turned into me leaving a relationship that was no longer serving me. My yes turned into recognizing when people were not genuine and they were coming for something other than what I thought. Your yes will open up your mind and your vision to things beyond your imagination. But it is all the benefit of you and you becoming everything that is divine, everything you've been called to, everything that the ancestors are waiting on, hoping for, depending on. Your yes is the key to your now, to your future, to your blessing, to your power. So I said yes, and I am so thankful I said yes. Not only has my life changed, my job has changed, my relationship has changed. Everything is on a million plus. My glow has changed. I've people tell me that. So say yes to yourself. Make the commitment to take care of yourself and say yes. And I'll hand over to my sisters.
Oh, yes, she's another one being modest. Are you not going to tell the people that you just announced your engagement? It's public, so
It is.
it got like 500 comments. As I think it's safe to say.
Yes, I am getting. I was proposed to in Maldives this year, and I mean, look, everything in my life has turned magical. Everything, even my relationship, my business starting in Georgia, not knowing anybody here except my fiance. Um,
And me.
well, of course, but no family or other friends, and just didn't know how I was going and my business has taken on. I started coaching volleyball at the high school. Look, everything, like I said, if you say yes to yourself, the I don't know, there's no it's the world is open up to everything that you need.
Ashe.
That's
Ashe. Ashe. And I'm looking forward to my sister doing more work with those other spiritual gifts that she doesn't even talk about. So, because I'm going to always hold the vision for everybody. I don't care if you started working with me 10, 15 years ago. If you're not doing what you are, the big thing that I know you really want to do as well, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to always nudge you a little bit around it. So, there's even more with Tony. And so thank you so much. In fact, I want to tell you all something real soon because I think that we are overflowing so beautifully in this community that we're rising and we're elevating our expression of juicy, that the Rebirth Sunday also is going to continue to elevate. And I'll tell you how I'm going to say yes to something that I've been also dancing around. So next, I want to bring up another beautiful juicy butterfly, who is able to melt a little ice in the cold state of Michigan. And I affectionately call this sweetheart boss lady, because she's one of the ones that, if you can come on camera as well and let them see how beautiful you are and why I call you boss lady. There she is. uh she is our beloved Carol blossoms if you juicy. And I love this powerhouse, for so many reasons. She is smooth like butter and sometimes can cut you the same way. Don't get it twisted. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. She got a little gangster with it because she's from the D. And she's doing some amazing things in her world, manifesting her vision as well. And I want you to be encouraged by our juicy butterfly, Carol Marie Blossoms.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Rev, I call her Mama Coach. I call her the Mama. So that's how I refer to her as. Wow, I'm just thinking like I probably wouldn't even be up here talking. I would be the shy one, like saying no. I won't get up here and talk, but I'll, talk to you on one-on-one. I love my sisters. So oh my God, through this process, I remember a while back, I think, was it 2016, 2017, when I started the juicy process. I was just like extremely like, oh my God, like what is this? A religion household, like juicy, what? Like I do this, what? With the process, and I was like, you know what? At the time, I was getting out of relationship with my ex, and I had moved into back home with my parents. Well, and it was just like it was such a challenge to even take the process and being in a household with people with certain beliefs, a whole nother belief system, and you flowing into a whole nother belief system and learning your truth and yourself. So during that time, like I said, I was coming out the relationship, and I got into the juicy process, and with that, it was like my whole life began to change, and I was just like it was just like wow factors to me, because it was like all I remember is Latanya was always say, well, Mama Latanya will always say, um when you say yes, things will open up for you. When you say yes to the process, things will, the doors will open. So I was like, okay, she said do this. I trust her. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to do the work. And then when I was doing the work, it was like, okay, my shadow side was coming up. These different things was coming up. So I guess, old things and things like that you needed to heal from, what was coming up at the time that I was healing from. And but throughout that process, I also was um receiving good stuff, in between. So it was like, I'm like, wow, you know what? This process really worked. Like, well, I didn't know about this before. And then I'm telling my mother, like, why y'all ain't never tell me about this, but, of course, they don't know. She don't know, my grandmother, different people like that. So it's like, okay. So anyway, I continued to do the work and do the process. And, and then one day it was like my voice opened up. It was like, I was like, I can talk. I'm like, I can talk. Like, and I was, still working in a corporate world, in public affairs. And it was like, once I started talking, I got a whole promotion. I got a whole team. And I'm looking like this. I didn't even do anything. I just started opening up my voice. And I remember some of the key things that Latanya would tell me. I didn't tell you that I was, I was putting it in my brain, So I'm like, yeah, I can hear her voice. Like, crawl to it. You get there as long as you do it, do the work. So that was like one of those little key things for me. And then within that, it was just like things just began to like blossom and bloom. And I was like, one of the things too, Mama Latanya taught me, helped me open up with more of my gifts. And one of those gifts was to start my business. And I remember doing a one-on-one my one-on-one with you, and I was like, nope, I can't do this. I can't do this because she gonna make me pull out my gifts and my talents. And then one day I was sitting there with myself, and I was like, you know what? She's right. She is so right. And then I started Carol Blossom, my business. And Carol Blossom, I realized that was, Mama Latanya helped me find my talent, and it was with my hands. And I was like, oh my God, I got juicy hands. Like, I'm like, I got juicy hands and I can help people. So, and I started my reflexology business, doing nails and feet, and it just went up from there. And I'm like, wow. And and with that, I was like, it's so many testimonies I can give. I don't even I don't even know where. Okay, so let me see. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys about another big testimony I have. We're working a juicy process, and I bought a property. I bought
Mm.
a property on 2.5 acres of land. I'm actually in here right now. Um, and
Wow.
listen, let me tell y'all, I didn't even have Can y'all hear? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you're back.
Okay. I bought a property, okay, and I was like, I did the work. Okay, I know I ain't gonna say the work on here. Y'all gotta whoever up next, come on in. But come into the room because I'm telling y'all this process works. I didn't even have to put down a deposit, y'all. I didn't like. I'm telling y'all, like when you say yes to what you want, it comes to you. It just I was just like a magnet for abundance, like, and that's it. Like now, and that's how I flow. It's like this is what I'm saying yes to. This is what I'm going to get. This is what I desire. This is what I'm going to get. And helping people and just okay. So, but this thing right here with this home, this is a big blessing. I cannot wait. It's going to be a Carol Blossom oasis. When y'all come in Michigan, y'all got somewhere to come to. We, everything.
Woo!
Okay, so 2024, it'll be everything will be up and on the beautiful road.
Yes, yes, indeed. Oh my God, Carol, I didn't even know all of these wonderful, wonderful things. Congratulations on everything, sis.
Thank you. And one more thing, I just want to say,
Please
I
continue.
have three girls, and I have one that's still in high school, but I have two girls in college. I'm paying for this, me, mama. And I just want to I had to give myself a pat on the back.
Yes,
Sometimes we may be like, oh, you start feeling a certain type of way. And then you got to just remind yourself, you know,
yes.
see one of your other juicy sisters, she helped you to remember, you got to remember who you are. And so that's one thing that I take with me. And whoever is on this call or listening, I want you to know, and I want you to say yes to this, because this will change your whole entire life. And I give thanks.
Ashe. All right. Well, don't y'all go anywhere. We're gonna hear from one more. There are others, and so that's why I think we're gonna in 2024. The Rebirth Sunday gathering gets to be a little bit more juicy. So that because you all really are y'all are doing so much. You could bring sermons I could book the whole Rebirth. Yeah, 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 Tony. Yes, yes, I said it. So you'll probably be up first, because ministers of juicy, yes, yes, and in your own way, in your own life, through your own testimony, through your motherhood, through your body. And then speaking of the body, I like to bring on this beautiful soul who, when I tell you it works when you work it, this woman comes into the alumni space when the alumni space is getting no action, and she comes into the space to drop a testimony of her working her process. And I love it because Camille does not care who's not working the process. She doesn't care if the community is a little stale or not active. She will come in, drop that pleasure report, and get on back into her life, manifesting big things. This woman is an author. She has a testimony for women, and really, we could almost do a whole series on Rebirth Sunday with her testimony of being able to address your fertility issues and manifest these babies. Get over a lot of these female ailments that we have suffered with. And she's a nurse. She's a mother. She's a beautiful, spicy Caribbean fruit, and so many more and things. And I just love listening to her overflow. Welcome to the space, my sister.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Grand Rising. I mean, my heart is full listening to everyone already. And I was getting a little teary. Tears of gratitude. Tears of gratitude. And I really do have a lot to say, but I would say this. I would say this. About saying yes. One of my biggest lessons, I'm gonna list the things I've manifested, but I want to say the lesson, right? Because I mean, if I manifest a car, a house, you may not want a car or a house, right? So it's all in the principles, it's in the lessons. And I remember when I wanted to leave my relationship. My daughter was in kindergarten. I used to work at the hospital 7 to 7. Her dad was helping. I was looking at all the obstacles, right? How can I pick her up and drop her off if I'm working 7 to 7? I wanted to relocate. It was my house. He didn't want to move. I didn't know if he would pay the mortgage. I was finding all the reasons. And Latanya, Rev Latanya, Juicy Mama said, "What do you want? Give yourself a chance to say, what do you want? What do you want?" And I said, well, I would like to relocate. I would like some help, someone who could help me to take my daughter to and from school. She was like, okay, let's sit with that. Let's sit with what you want. In no less than a week, one of my daughter's friends, and I was telling someone this the other day about trust, right? Because to me, this has to do with trust. One of my daughter's friend was, and that was my daughter's best friend at that time. One of my daughter's friend mom said, I asked her, I was like, hey, how much is your apartment complex? And she told me, and then she offered, well, do you want to move in together? Right? So then there you had it. I had somebody to help me take my daughter to school. We actually started helping each other. But if I had not allowed myself to own my desire, I would have been still staying in the what ifs. And I feel like when I was in a process, for me, it was very serious. It was actually like a life and death situation, like literally, physically. And being in the process, they helped me to stay safe.
Mm.
Um, to this day, 4 years later, he does not know where I live.
Wow.
He does not know where I live. And being in the process also has helped me to develop boundaries. And honestly, if he knew I lived today, I feel safe in that. But I said that from the beginning, and he does not know where I live. And being in the process has also allowed me to set boundaries with him. And the other day, he said something to me that I found disrespectful and crossed my boundaries. Do you know what I said? I was like, you can no longer have contact with me. If you want to see her, you have to drop her by my niece. You have to do this. You have to do that. That's what being in the process taught me. Latanya also said that I was a nurse practitioner.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And let me say this also, because I was staying in that relationship until I finished school. I tried to start 3 times. It was not until I left that relationship that I was able to start graduate school and finish graduate school. So you really can't mess around with spirit. What spirit has for you has for you. And I think that God did not want that man to get any sort of credit in me reaching to my next level. And the last thing that I posted in the group was about me building a house. At our last retreat, we went to the island. What's the name of the island?
Fripp.
Okay. They have these big houses. And I kept saying, I want one of those houses. I want a big house like that. I want a big house like that. I mean, how can I get a big house like that, right? Single mom, the whole works. But I kept saying I wanted a big house like that. That was way when I forgot that I had put that desire. My complex kept going up and up in the rent. So the last 2 years, I was like, I got to get out of here. I want a house. As everybody knows, that I live in Florida. I live in Orlando. Houses are expensive. I just didn't want anything. I want something that I was comfortable with. And then my daughter's like, I want a 2-story and I want this. And I'm thinking about my pocket. Again, I go back to the principle. What do you want, Camille? What do you want? I do want a big house, right? Most people with a daughter, me and her, you think three bedroom, what, 2 bath. But that's not what we wanted. We wanted large. So I allow myself to want what I want. I got a realtor, I got pre-approved. Granted, it's 40 minutes from my family. That's another step for me. But we're getting a 5 bedroom, 3 bath house, 2 living room, game room, hobby area. And I will say this, I am telling you guys this with like everything in me. But sometimes when my family asks about the house, I don't even tell them because I don't need anybody asking me, why do you need that much house? It's not your business why. Okay. Not only that, and I was hesitant about it too, but like I said, and it's within my budget because it's the same as my that's another thing. It's the same as my rent, right? I thought it would be, but it's the same as my rent. And I let myself want what I want. And I will tell you this, when I moved, I left them in my house, which some people thought was crazy. I bought that house when I was 23, and people are like, "What? How you leave a man in your house?" But I tell them peace is priceless. It wasn't worth it for me. Peace is priceless.
Mm.
And I left them in my house. And I
Mm.
moved over here. I moved to some place where I was paying 2 times as my mortgage. I was paying private school for my daughter. I did not want to take her out of school because I did not want to cause too much disruption. Private school for my daughter. I had to work less because I had to do clinicals and I had to do nurse practitioner. COVID hit. I want you guys to know in all of that, I think I end up saving over $50,000 cash.
Mm. Mhm.
And I am not one to talk numbers. And don't ask me how I save over $50,000 because I don't know. I do know part of the reason is because I wasn't facing so much trauma, I didn't have to shop as much to numb myself because I was a shopper
Say it, girl.
and I was a luxury shopper.
Come on now.
Okay. So because I did not have to numb myself as much and I did not need as much retail therapy, I was able to save more money. But I was nowhere in that when I left that relationship, you know. But and the thing is sometimes people tell me I'm just trying to be myself and live a happy life on this side of heaven with my daughter. And sometimes people come into my inbox, women, and they give me compliments and I'm so thankful, but sometimes I don't even know who they're talking about. I'm like, me? You talking about me? But I put in the chat because I don't know if it was Tony or Kristen who said, I think it was Tony. When you say yes, everything happened. And I wrote in the chat, when you say yes, there's no cap. No cap on your blessing. No cap in what you could fulfill. And I want to say that when I did left that house, I moved to a luxury apartment. Let me see if I could show y'all up. Can you turn this mic around? If I could turn the mic around, I would have. Can y'all see? I don't know if you could see behind me. But I live surrounded by a golf club, a golf course. And I remember when COVID was going on and different stuff would be going on, I would come by this window. Sometimes I would sit here and cry, but I would come by this window and I would look at what I'm going through. But I would look at these men out here playing golf, and they would put me back into perspective, especially during COVID when people would be in panic, and these men are riding around in their golf cart, playing golf and living the life. And when I would sit here, sometimes I like to sit here in the morning and I would pray and I would thank God and I would thank myself for this scenery, for me moving, and for me saying yes to myself. When I started I don't know if I was an author yet when I first started.
Yes, you were.
I were author. Okay, so I probably had 2 books at that time. I'm publishing my fourth. I just wrote my fourth book. I'm publishing my third book,
Mm.
and the
Mhm.
other one is going to be published soon. And this one is called Feminine Gems. It's 365 affirmations to nourish your mind and 65 self-care tips to nourish your body and soul. And I'd like to add that my self-care tips have nothing to do with getting your nails and your hair done. Because I hate when people talk about getting your hair and nails done,
Right,
like if
right.
that's the end all be all to
Mm-hmm.
self-care. And my heart is full, and I just want to thank each and every one of the butterflies, especially you, Latanya. You guys have really, really held me like 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 none other. Like I've never been held before, even by my own mother. And I remember one time, I don't know what made Latanya call or text me, but I could remember it was a day that I was scared. I was at work because he had just threatened. I don't know if she knows this. He had threatened to pull up to where I was doing clinicals and to block me in. And I was on lunch. And I don't know if she called me or she texted me, but we got on the phone and she gave me a little message and she pulled a card for me and she soothed my heart and my mind. So I don't know what you're going through. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what you're trying to accomplish. I feel like if this process can protect you physically, right, from a mentally ill, abusive person, it could definitely help you accomplish whatever monetary goals you have, whatever it is you want to do. So that is what I have to say. And thank you, ladies, so much. Thank you, Dana. I love you.
This is thank you so much. My heart is so full. Boy, I tell you, we are overdue for our juicy gathering just for the alumni, and I have some special announcements for you, but I actually could have listened to each one of you all in full. And one of the things that I had been dancing around, Spirit had given me, let me tell y'all something real quick. On those of you who have ideas and those of you who don't believe your gifts will make room for you. You know, I have left everything and moved to Costa Rica, not knowing the language, and there is still so much to be told about the magic of those 2 years living abroad, what we manifested, what came to us, and not with all of this masculine energy, hustle energy that we have in the States. And I continued to live like that when I came back to the States, because my commitment was not to just return and fall into the rat race, the hustle, the grind. People are calling what we've been doing for years, they're calling it now the soft life. And so the soft life is slow, it's deliberate, it's intentional, and it's juicy. And so for years, we used to joke in private and call Rebirth Sunday Pussy Church. Straight up. We used to call it Pussy Church. and I remember when I was in a room full of 250 women, and a scripture came to me in my process before I did Juicy, before I wrote Juicy, when I was doing my rites of passage. I was in a room full of 250 women from all over the world. Most of them did not look like me. And a scripture came to me, and I translated the scripture into the feminine work, from the feminine work. And I remember Dr. Christian Northrup, who is one of our references in Juicy. Dr. Christian Northrup, author of Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdoms, and several other books on menopause, motherhood, and all of that. She is truly a vanguard in the medical establishment. She turned around and she said, if you open a church, that's the church that I want to go to. And that's where they started to call me another beloved reverend name. And so Rebirth, but I knew that my community, people like us, wouldn't necessarily be ready for it. You all have also heard me talk about in the book womb prayers, my manifestation of knowing your gifts will make room for you. The womb prayers that I prayed that started to reveal certain things. And then a sister comes out with a book called Pussy Prayers, Why? Because she was bold enough, and I do recommend you all get it. She was bold enough to just put it out there. And so I do look forward to next year relaunching the Rebirth Sunday in the form of Juicy Church. Well, it will not just be it won't just we just won't be doing the metaphysics. You have to do that in the membership. We'll do that type of thing, but really so we can hear from each and every one of you the ministry of Juicy, because y'all know that this is how we transmute, transfigure, transform, and translate the divine work wherever your walk of life is, whether you are Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you are agnostic, whatever, non-denominational, whether you're from the Caribbean, whether you're from the Pentecostal. There is no spot where God is not in this work. So there is no separation. And so I thank you all for just being midwives for what is coming. And I see you. I just want, and even though those who will listen to this later, we didn't have room to get all of the juicy butterflies on. Please know I'm not looking over you. I want to say that because mama stuff comes with mama stuff. And so if you hadn't healed your mama stuff, you'll start projecting that shit onto me. And I ain't taking it. I'm sending it back, return to sender. I did not look over you. There's a whole group of sisters on the West Coast that would have had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get on, that I would have loved to come on from the West Coast as well. And so what Spirit is saying, it's time for us to rise into the mothership. The mothership. It's not just about being a good sister and being juicy woman for yourself now. It's about what legacy are we leaving for these girls? What legacy are we activating and reactivating for our family? How are the ancestors speaking through you? Because you are the wealth. You are the abundance. And when you become abundant and shift your mindset, everything becomes possible that your mothers prayed, because they prayed for you. Somebody prayed for you to come when they wanted to feel good and not feel guilty, when they wanted to feel good and not go into shame, when they wanted to feel good and live the soft life, but they had to keep on hustling and taking care of the family, when they wanted to feel good and look good, but they couldn't be worried about that sometimes because they just had to take care. When somebody prayed for you who knew that feel good would have got them hung if they told the truth. So they had to go through centuries of keeping the feminine arts under wraps. So there is all of this in your DNA. Anybody on this call, in this space, I don't always do all of the advertising and the pushing and the sales to sometimes fill the room the way that I could. These sisters came on with a 24-hour notice. Imagine if we plan and if I do a better job of planning and resourcing what we have in our community. It's time for your gifts to shine if you're listening. And it's certainly time for those who are rising stars in this community to be seen and to be celebrated. And I look forward to doing that on Sundays, but also in the way that we deliver the processes. So if there, in fact, I want to offer, is there someone who has anything in the comments that was your favorite frame? Since you can't come on live, we'll be back on Zoom. And guess who will be back on the video? You know, how this little Kim said, I know you saw me on the video. True. So I got to figure out how to celebrate November and December with all of you on air again. And we are going to gather. We're going to do some small gatherings just for us to get reacquainted. But if there's any favorite frames, okay, we said it's time to rise into the mothership. Thank you so much, the Glam Mother, holding it down in Vicksburg, Mississippi. All right, anybody else? Any favorite frames you heard from your sisters and their sermonettes? Drop them in the comments. Come on now. All right, here we go. A little bit, another sister who is a beautiful Iya teaching tantric arts. She's in the comments saying she's saying yes to herself. Okay. And then earlier we had a favorite frame. I felt that last one, from mediocrity to genius. She said Shondo. That's why it's juicy church up in here, honey. All right, we got another sister said that my hands are juicy. Come on now. Yes. Keep on dropping in the comments. Tell them what you heard that made your belly jump. Tell them what you heard that made your belly jump. This is your Mary and Elizabeth moment. Yes. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you. Come on, Cheryl. Tell what you got. What made your belly jump? And then we have another one said, do it for you. Come on. Something as simple as do it for you made your belly jump. Come on. Anybody else? Something that your sister said to you and fed to you today, because these were sermonettes. People are tired of being preached to like that. So yes, we could teach you the metaphysics of faith. We could teach you what the double meaning of a scripture. Yeah, you want to know that because you want to undo what has been done in your mind around religion. That keeps you blocked and move into what keeps you stopped. Move from what keeps you blocked and move into what keeps you stopped, honey. So if there's no more, come on, you can drop them in the comments. If I don't see them for any reason, blame it on the technology. I want to close us out with our song, just so you can hear it again and go right into our prayer. You can continue to drop your favorite frames as we do this.
Vulnerable woman, know your worth. It's okay, yeah. Feel good.
Thank you, sister, so much for coming on. I'm gonna just put you in the galley.
It's okay, yeah.
If you have to go, you can, but if you can stay on real quick so I can share something with you.
Feel good, sensual, powerful, vulnerable woman, know your worth. Sensual, powerful, vulnerable woman, know your worth. It's okay, yeah. Feel good.
Mother, Father, God, Holy Spirit, all that is, we come in the spirit of every woman. If you can drop the names of your grandmothers, your mothers' names, and we bring the energy of our mother's mother, the generations, 7 generations before us and 7 generations behind us that will benefit from our juice overflowing into the manifestation of vision. We give thanks that juicy is Christ consciousness. We give thanks that juicy is wholeness. We give thanks that juicy is healing, that we give thanks that juicy is the spiritual power of the mothers of civilization rising to the calling on their lives to be the interruption, the generational shifters and changers. We give thanks for the good works that have begun in each and every woman under the sound of my voice that shall be completed. We give thanks that for the piercing and dividing of joints and marrows through the word, because faith comes by hearing other women speak into the power, into the astral realm, into the space that we have created as wombs that come together in abundance mindset, wombs that come together in prosperity testimonies, wombs that are shifting lack consciousness for themselves and for even their mothers. We give thanks that mother wounds are being healed in this space. We give thanks that daddyless daughters are are recovering and finding themselves rebirthing their relationship with the divine masculine. We give thanks for those who are expressing themselves sensually, sexually, in success, sacred success on their own terms. We give thanks that there is no limit to the ways of that God is manifesting in, as, and through each and every woman that is saying yes to her vision. No matter what is being forecasted, we are the casters. We are the true casters. And we cast not our pearls amongst the swine consciousness of the masses. We hold sacred our gems, and we lift our gems to be shined when we say, I look to the hills from whence cometh my help. And we know that our help cometh from the law of life, that we become the living prayers that we have prayed, not only when we have tears, but when we have joy and bliss. We let those prayers take on flesh today. We let those prayers come to greet us like a sweet kiss on our cheek, saying, I'm here now, ready for you. Walk in, because no doors and windows that have been opened by the God within can be closed by any man or the mindset of limitation of men. We let that be so, and so it is. We say ashe, and whoo, let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to all that have been under the sound of my voice. Ashe, ashe, oh. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you. Those of you who are in the Paradigm Shifter membership, you should get your recording. You missed out last week. You'll get your recording. Those of you who are in the Paradigm Shifter membership, you should get your recording tomorrow. I love you all. There's nothing you can do about it.